Ciao Amici! It's your main man Murder, here to review the new Tier 4 Italian premium cruiser, Genova. A lot of you are currently grinding for Portal Shards to buy her, and I'm sure you want to know if all that wallowing in the filth is worthy of your efforts. Well, have no fear, Murder is here to give you a very detailed look at her. I'll also play a quick game in her, where I'll offer you some extremely valuable gameplay tips designed to help you fast track your way to the top of the leaderboard. So here are some pros and cons. To start with, she has great guns. 4x2 turret arrangement, 203 millimeters, just absolute bangers. For a heavy cruiser, the Genova's pretty darn fast. Certainly not the fastest cruiser at this tier, but she can very efficiently and effectively get you in and out of danger. She has a really good torp reload. In the build I'm running, it's about 47 seconds. Average cruiser torp reload at this tier is somewhere between 60 and 90 seconds, so 47 is really good. Her HP pool is just over 30,000. Only the Hawkins and Furitaka have more at this tier. That is just about 15 to 20% higher than most cruisers at tier 4. Possibly my favorite pro on this list is her 9-kilometer concealment radius. This is easily the best at tier 4 for cruisers. On average, just to give you guys a base of reference, most cruisers have about a 10.7 to 11.7 concealment radius. This is extremely noticeable and exploitable on the battlefield, and you'll actually see it in the gameplay footage that I'm going to show you here in just a second. The cons: she has about a 19 or 20 second reload. Most detractors of this ship are going to point to that as an issue, which it is somewhat, but she has the most powerful guns at this tier. She has 8 of them. The turret arrangement on these guns is such that you can get that third and fourth gun to fire at a very aggressive angle, so you don't have to show your whole broadside to get specifically that third turret on target. She doesn't have smoke. Urgh. One of the things we love about Italian cruisers and destroyers is their rolling smoke, and the Genova, folks, I hate to say, doesn't come with any. That being said, you can somewhat mitigate this with that 9-kilometer concealment, which is again best in class. In classic Italian fashion, really slow 51 knot torps here with an 8-kilometer range, only dealing a maximum damage of about 9,000. So that kind of sucks. All tier 4 cruisers have pretty horrible armor, and the Genova is no exception. That being said, if you know how to angle it, it will hold up very well to oncoming fire from other cruisers and destroyers, but any battleship at this tier is still going to punch you in the nose if you're not angled well. The anti-air defense of this ship is pretty below average. I would say it's worse than maybe 60 to 70% of the other cruisers at this tier. This ship comes with 1 modification slot. Of course, I used Aiming Systems Mod 1. She also has 4 spotter planes and 3 sonars if you run fully packed with Mimbelli, which is what I'm going to show you right now. Full disclosure here, folks, I'm not a huge Italian cruiser player, so my Mimbelli's not fully ranked up, but you get the idea. I'm basically running a full agility and speed build here with Ingenious in slot 1, and then all the speed and rudder shift through slot 2, 3, and 4. Of course, down in the legendary slot, we're running fully packed so that we get the additional sonar and spotter planes. Most important thing about Mimbelli is his base trait, which is going to enhance that already horrible reload. And then, of course, Von Muller and Azure Lane Baltimore for inspirations. I also tried to make Sansonetti work. I played about 20-30 games in the Genova with Luigi as the commander, hoping that subtle manipulations here in skill slot 3 would enhance the performance of that AP, those 203mm shells, and I noticed absolutely no difference whatsoever. If anything, he makes it worse because you lose all the rudder shift and speed, and there's not enough other goodies to make up for how sluggish this ship all of a sudden becomes. That, and you don't get the reload perk from Mimbelli's base trait. So I'd recommend staying away from Sanzanetti, but hey, if you want to give it a try, my name's Paul, and that's between y'all. So let's take this Belladonna out for a stroll. You guys, I'm going to include some strategy into this video as well, so hopefully you can pick up a few tips and pointers while you're watching the Genova hard at work here. The first thing I want to point out is it's really important to note which of friendly ships spawned with you here. In this case, I'm identifying that I've got a Trento and a Texas with me. Now I know that Trento is probably going to want to smoke up and fire from his smoke as soon as we see some battleships here. Or in this case, a Kirov that's pushing pretty aggressively towards the middle. Now I'm not spotted here, and I won't be until they get in that 9-kilometer spotting radius. So I'm just keeping my eyes on this Kirov while Homeboy's firing from smoke, completely concealed. I'm keeping my health, he's keeping his. I'm not going to fire until he gets to 9 kilometers because I don't want those battleships out there to blap me broadside. So I had to fire there just to keep my concealment. I've got 1 or 2 battleships out there on the other side of Charlie, but we got no destroyers. So it's really important to note the ship classes that you're going up against as well. So if I don't fire my guns, I can aggressively move towards the cap here and possibly even take this cap based on how I'm identifying that these enemies are positioning their ships. I think I can stay more than 9 kilometers away from them and keep my concealment while I cap. Now, we've got this bonehead on my team who's just roaring into YOLO position here in, what's he in, a Königsberg? So he's keeping those guys busy over there, and they're trying to keep a little bit of distance because they're afraid of his torpedoes. All the while, I'm sitting here capping and not firing. You guys, it's important to note when in a battle, you really shouldn't be firing your guns. I am heavily helping my team right now by getting this capture and not shooting my guns. You can do things to win games and really benefit your team without shooting your guns. So this is one of those times I am going to go ahead and take this cap. I'm going to skedaddle and I'm going to start firing while I'm retreating. Now, almost any other cruiser in that situation besides a Genova is going to get spotted. They have significantly higher concealments than I do. So I took advantage of my ship's strengths and I don't even feel a little bit bad for it. Now, as I'm surveying the mini-map, I'm noticing that if I stay here and just wait for the Caesar and Trento to pop out of that smoke over there and try to get some shots on this Arizona, I'm going to be wasting a bunch of time. So I'm looking at this mini-map. I see these 2 cruisers, this Oba and Dallas out here broadside, this Piotr over here in this B-cap, which hasn't been claimed yet. And I'm thinking this is where I want to go to really impact the battlefield. If I'd have just sat over there on Charlie, I could have slowly chipped away at those ships or kited and spammed or done whatever there, but I want to get in the action. I want to impact this match as positively as I can. And right now, that involves moving in here to Bravo and trying to knock out these 2 cruisers that are pinned up against that wall that borders on Alpha Cap. So because these 2 ships are pinned up against this wall and I've got 2 teammates coming around on the other side of Alpha, I'm going to get some really nice broadside shots here. This Dallas ends up throttle jockeying me a little bit, but I'm going to get a quick kill shot on the Oba. And again, just a great way to feature the really nice AP shell damage that comes out of the 203s on this thing. This Dallas, which has a really great reload and fires a lot of shells, is going to focus me here, and you'll see how quickly and efficiently I'm able to get out of the way of these shells at the same time being mindful of the Piotr that's up on the north side of this cap that's potentially looking to get some shots on me here. So I'm really angling away from the Dallas and the Piotr at the same time here. Now Dallas is going to turn around and dip into Alpha, so I'm going to be able to go nose in on this Piotr. I am eyeballing his turrets to see where he's firing. He's still focusing the Queen that's coming out of A, so I'm going to jump in. Again, quickly dive in, use the speed and agility to drop some torpedoes, fire some HE rounds at this guy, turn around as quickly as I can, so that I can get the torpedoes off of the other side of my ship on him, all the while firing, resetting the cap, and doing my part to help my team win this game. So I want to point out, you guys need to notice, even though I'm moving away from this Piotr right now while he's firing at me, I am keeping a very close eye on where his turrets are aiming. As soon as I see that he's going to re-engage with that queen that's moving in on him, I turn right back in to aggressively reposition on the rest of the battle board. I know that ship is going to die, but if I just keep kiting away, I'm going to take myself out of this match. Conversely, because I have turned in, look how well I'm positioned to take a very strong run on this Dallas that's going to be coming out of A to try to beat up on the poor little tier 4 cruiser. And watch what I do to this poor Dallas. So, look at my health, and let's count the salvos coming in. And I want you to see how many times this guy fires at me as I'm approaching, and I want you to see how much damage I don't take because of how I'm angling my approach towards this guy. Now, the armor on this ship sucks, but he's not doing much to me because I'm taking a very flawless angle on him. I can also do this because he does not have torpedoes, so I'm going to let him borrow a few of mine. So for my last and final trick of the evening, I'm going to show you guys some next level shit. This only works if you have a keen awareness and understanding of how to read a mini-map. Now, I know that that last surviving battleship is over by Charlie. He's probably going to jump into that cap and claim it before this game is done. So I need to simultaneously bait this Trento out of jumping into the B cap while getting the A cap just to offset the points that that battleship is going to claim by taking C. There he is. He's already filling up the C cap. I'm only up by 20, 30 points here on the battle board. I'm the last ship. So I'm going to drop some torpedoes. I already citadeled this Trento once. Gave him just enough damage to get angry at me and chase me into alpha here. Now he thinks he's going to be able to, I don't know, track me down. There you go. Take a torpedo, Mr. Dumbass. And I'm keeping a very close eye on the timer. I'm keeping a very close eye on the scoreboard. And I'm seeing that it's imperative for me to actually take this A cap here. Now that I have it, I know the game's over. He wasn't able to get in the A cap quickly enough to contest. So now I get to just sail off into the sunset and chat with you guys a little bit more. I do want to point out that I was a tier 4 cruiser in a match that featured 4 or 5 tier 5s on the enemy team. So this can be done in this Genova if you know how to play her right. Hopefully what I showed you guys helped. More importantly, I hope you feel like you got a good look and a good feel for the Genova. I'd be excited about getting this ship. I think it's a very serviceable ship for tier 4. She's a ton of fun to play. So pick her up, give her a spin, and most importantly, give me your thoughts on her. I'm always open to questions, comments, and criticisms. Feel free to throw those down in the comments. As always, please consider hitting like and subscribe. I do appreciate it tremendously when you do. When you subscribe, it will alert you to when I go live on both YouTube and Twitch, streaming 3 or 4 nights a week. I would be tickled and honored if you stopped by and said hello. So until then, we will see you on the seas. Murder out.